Last week was pretty nuts, especially if you are a non-directional trader. It was a difficult week as the markets trended up and momentum continued to carry price higher. This was the gamma exposure levels I had marked off at the start of the week. Last week was also the first time in which I broke my streak, as in I did not release a video on Monday. However, I did do my gamma exposure analysis. These are the levels that I had marked off. We're going to get into some of my notes that I had at the start of the week. I went on and added the 700, 705, and 710 levels after, which is why they're only here at the later half of the week and they're a dash, just to let you guys know it was not there at the start of the week, as there was no concrete data, in my opinion, at the start of the week to think that the market would have made such of an outlier move. Now, this is a statistical outlier, and that's not something that is up to opinion. We can actually just jump back and take a look at, let's just say, since 2023 to 2026, so the last 3 years, what's a normal deviation for the markets from a weekly time frame? And we're looking at the Quant Trading App's candle stats page. I have it aggregated to the weekly candles, and we can see that this was the past 3 weeks here for the SPY. This is a normal standard deviation, and anything outside of that is outside of that deviation. As you can see, the markets was up over 4.4% last week, and that is not normal. The week prior, also the market was up pretty large, as well as the week before that. So we're talking about a historical rally, as we know when we take a look at the daily time frame. The market has essentially gone up over 10% in a month span. So this is a 12%, 12.5% rally or so in under 20 days, which is historic by any measure, as we can see the bounce that we have experienced here, which means statistically, you're not going to find the same level of clues that we normally would find to warrant this type of rally. Now, there are macro headlines that are influencing this move, as well as a gamma squeeze, as well as a short squeeze. Some hedge funds are in trouble, some funds are forced to buy in, etc., etc. Let's take a look at this right here and let's see. This would be, here's April of this year, 2026. Right now I have it sorted by the biggest net changes. So if we were to click this right here, we can see that that was this week right here. It ranks pretty high. Now this is out of 171 weekly candles, which is over 1,200 days of markets trading activity. And this week ranks that high. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is the sixth largest rally. That is well within the means of an outlier. If we were to take a look at the bell curve, we would say that this is where most deviations occur. And then it splits like this. And this would be your very lower end percentile and your very higher end percentile. Last week falls under this percentile here, which is less than, I believe, 2% of the time we're going to see a move such as this. In other words, if it was a bad week for you or you lost a lot of money, just know that that is not just a statistical norm, especially if you've had a strategy that's been working. It's not going to work on a week such as that one, specifically the non-directional trades. If we look a little bit further, here's another week. So this was earlier in April. So we have two back-to-back weeks. And that week, I believe, is like the 10th or the 11th ranking out of this assortment here. So that means we have 2 weeks back-to-back that is well outside of the normal deviation in terms of what the market would normally do on a weekly time frame. This, for if you're curious, this is back in 2023. This is what an example would be of a week like that. It generally always follows after a major downtrend. The same thing like here, this major big week right here. What do you think happened during that week? It was after a downtrend, after a downtrend. That's what happens when so much negative gamma is accumulated into the markets, which is why it's always dangerous to be a short. We can also sort this by the change from the open to the close instead of the net change. The net change would be calculated from the previous week's close. If we take a look at from the open to the close, so in other words, where the week opened versus where it closed, now we see this week actually ranks even higher. It would be the 1, 2, 3, 4th largest from open to close week over the past few years. 2022 was a historical bear market, so we're just starting it from after the last major bear markets, and that's why I just chose 2023 as an example for this data set. But I just wanted to point that out to you guys as we take a look at a little bit of the data, as to always remind yourself not everything that you do in the market is going to work, as there are going to be outlier weeks such as this one, and you don't want to beat yourself up too much over it because this is not normal price action. This is not normal trading activity. On top of that, the markets did break out over the all-time highs. That means momentum traders are going to kick in. This was the previous all-time high. Once the markets broke out past this, it's essentially going to be momentum carrying it, as there is no prior or previous resistance. There's nothing from the left-hand side to indicate there being any resistance, as the market is what's called price discovery mode, as supply and demand is eventually going to meet some sort of equilibrium and will enter some sort of new consolidation phase. If acceptance continues to be higher, then momentum can carry the market higher. Remember, there is never really a ceiling on the markets. It can go up forever. Do not fall into the trap to think just because it's up pretty big, it has to come back down. It does not have to come back down. It can continue to trend up for a couple more years and then decide to come back down very quickly. It can catch people off guard. If we were to scroll back and take a look at something like this, if we had this as an all-time high and the market broke out of the all-time high, look, it continued to trend up, and before it had its first major pullback, and then it continued to trend up until it had its first real, deadly pullback last year here. But at the same time, just because the market breaks out of a new all-time high, do not fall into the trap of thinking it must retest the previous all-time high. We don't know if the market is going to come back straight to 695 area or be below 700 anytime soon. Most traders are going to put a bet on that happening. Most traders are going to essentially think it's going to happen, especially since we are now at the cusp of the start of earnings season. If a few of the big tech companies report a poor earnings or poor guidance, then yeah, the markets can fall right back below 700. But for the most part, just speculating on that it must go back below 700 because it went up too fast is not a concrete enough reason. It very well may, but do not let the reason why you take a trade like that be just because the market is up pretty big so fast. Now, from a gamma exposure standpoint, this was essentially what I was expecting the market to do. I was expecting it to hold above this area here and then naturally gravitate towards 695. I did not account for the markets being much higher than 695, so it was a surprise to me that it went all the way up to 710. I avoided any major non-directional trades on the Monday as I identified the momentum, but I did wait to enter a call credit spread, but I was essentially banking on the markets being below 700. So I did end up catching myself in trouble as I had to stop out of my trades on Thursday. I did hedge it with some broken wing butterflies for the XSP, but it was not enough protection for the call credit spreads. I'm going to consider myself lucky, however, because if I open up the call credit spreads on Monday and I traded with this size without identifying the momentum, things could have gotten really ugly, as I know a lot of traders did get burned. I didn't release a video on Monday again, so I'm glad I didn't come in on Monday saying, hey, consider a call credit spread, selling calls above 700, as that was essentially would have been a dangerous trade. Now the GIX profile is starting to look normal, so let's take a look at something here. This is the first week in about 8 weeks where the market opened up above the G flip. So again, this is Monday morning here that I shared within Quant Trading App. So even though I did not do a video, the data is here, the levels are here, so you guys can see. Now we can expect reduced volatility now. Strategies that were consistently working over the past couple months may now struggle to yield the sale results. The double diagonals, for example. So it's the double diagonals, the iron flies, iron condors, a lot of those types of strategies that were working relatively well, they may struggle now. So this is my first warning. Now, I am not a financial advisor, so I can't tell a trader what they should and should not do. I share examples of what I am doing, and I like to share the data and educate you guys on different strategies that are available to you guys as traders. And if anything, open your eyes or expose you to the type of information that's out there. So you guys can obviously do whatever you want, but take the data that I present to you and please make educated decisions and always consider risk management. So 680 is a significant strike. If the market can hold above it, then it should be relatively smooth sailing up to 685 and a strong possibility of 690 this week. That type of rhetoric for me is not normal. It was what I was seeing. So I was essentially expecting this area to hold and thinking there would be smooth sailing up to 690. But I also mentioned that without some unexpected news, I don't see the market spending much time below 675. So I was just talking about the supports right here. So I did not expect the markets to be below 675. And if it did get below 675, I would not have expected it to be below 675 for long. I did have to come in and provide an update the next day as the markets did hit 690. So it only took 24 hours. Now, since it was up that high so soon, I didn't know what to make of it, but 695 is realistically within reach, and 700 is also in the cards as the market is starting to approach the regular trading hours all-time high of 697.84. So this is as the market was here earlier in the week here. So the updates to the information for me was already, my eyes were on 700. That's as far as I was thinking we were going to go, not 710. So that's what caught me off guard. This is an outlier type of move, as I think 700 was not outside of the norm. Now, the thing of what to take note of is the fact that the market also opened up right around this G flip here. So I went ahead and just plotted out. This is just a screenshot, and this is just loosely me drawing the gamma flip levels from all the previous weeks that I like to map out here. So if we just zoom out, that's pretty much just me just tracing over. So here's a G flip going something like this, you know, just drawing a line along it looking like this. And then I just turned off all the levels so we can look at it cleaner. And I shared at the beginning of the week that this is the first time within 8 weeks. So this is essentially, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks or so here, in which the market spent all this time at the start of the week below the gamma flip. And this is the first time essentially that the markets opened just at or above the gamma flip level. And that was special, or a slight change, which is why I track and monitor these things. That was significant to me, and the first telling sign that we might have a trigger in terms of the markets actually cascading upwards. Some people call it crashing up, some people call it, you know, momentum, but to me, I'm going to take that note moving forward. If we enter into another major downtrend in the future and I see the market down for, you know, 8 times in a row, which is crazy, below the gamma flip, then I know that first week that we do actually open up as at or above the G flip and there is momentum, then guess what? I know what to do. This is why tracking information, data is important, journaling it, and obviously you guys are benefiting from the data that I track by watching these YouTube videos, but we'll be a little bit more prepared next time. And again, I'm not necessarily saying what to do, but essentially the way you pivot in this case here is you don't run iron condors, you don't run iron butterflies. You pivot by either running put credit spreads below major support levels, and you don't put any risk to the upside. That is one adjustment. Obviously you could just get long and buy calls, buy futures contracts and so forth, but for those of you that like to trade spreads, that's one approach. I did a video actually a while back on trading an XSP strategy with smaller accounts or so, but it's essentially just a broken wing butterfly. You just run it pretty much a 1 DTE broken wing butterfly, in which you give yourself no risk to the upside, and you pretty much just open it towards the end of the day or so, and you just kind of open it like this. And as long as the market is trending up, the logic will be either the market is going to be flat the next day or it is going to continue to go up. I made an adjustment personally when I trade that strategy now, and I don't go at the money. I actually always give it a slight bias. I'll generally go about 0.3% above the closing price, as you can trade ES, SPX, options, and so forth about 15 minutes after the market closed, so you can actually trade it with an account below PDT. By the way, that PDT rule will be changing shortly, I believe. I remember reading an article that it's going to drop down to 2K, so you won't no longer need a $25,000 account, which is just another reason for no one to essentially have an excuse for not being able to trade spreads with a margin account. Lastly, I'll just point out that the ES levels, you know, need to be adjusted and updated as the market essentially just flew through most of the levels. I'm actually just going to clear some of these, as now they're not going to be relevant, but this is where the market started here and then it just trended up. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And fortunately, this was a blessing in disguise. I think that I did not do a video on Monday. I traded lights. I identified the changes. I did not want to be aggressive. I like to wait to let the markets do its thing and then get back to normal trading trading activity. But now we have to pivot how we approach the markets. We have to adjust our strategies. We are also about to start with the big tech earnings. So this is generally not a season in which I like to trade aggressive anyway, at least for the next 2 weeks. With that being said, you guys can stay tuned for the videos coming up this week. I'll see if I'll do one tomorrow. Right now, I do intend to do one on Monday for the upcoming week, as I will do my weekly gamma exposure analysis. You guys in Quant Trading app can expect to see my thoughts posted in a Discord tomorrow. On YouTube, that is to be determined what I will actually release. The strategy, say for example, this is it here. This was the call credits spread that I essentially was in trouble with, but it was protected a little bit by this for at least that one day, as this was the 1 DTE and this was a 3 DTE, we'll call it. But I ended up having to stop out the following day anyway of this, as the market continued to trend higher. So it wasn't a major blow, but it was still a blow. And I'm glad at least that was the biggest bulk of the pain for me. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know down below in the comments. Like it, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.